Hello everybody, Whitebox here with another game of Spirit Islands, continuing my journey to try to get a level 6 win with every spirit. So next, I'm going to be doing Finder of Paths Unseen, and this one's a little bit tricky. I have not played a level 6 adversary with Finder before. Actually, I have not played a lot of games with Finder before. I had a game recently that I was playing at a lower level adversary, I think just Scotland, with some friends that was pretty fun. So I'm going to try a similar strategy here to see if I can get that working. So with that in mind, I think I'm ready to get going. So my initial explore here was mountains. My royal backing was jungle. So I know jungle is not going to come up in stage 1. My goal is to kind of just stack everything up into one land and then hopefully not worry about it. Maybe I can get a skip. So to that end, I'm going to gain a power card first, and I'm going to go for a major. Turn 1 major. So that I know what I'm working with, and I can try to plan around that particular major. So I've got Entwined Power. It's a good power for true solo, but probably a little too slow. Does get 2 power cards though, it's not too bad. Terrifying Nightmares is okay. I've already got enough control, so I don't really need that. Winds and Rust of Atrophy is not going to be the play. Plague Trips Sail to Distant Ports. Let's see. That could be alright. I don't think I have any fire cards, so it's not the easiest for me to threshold. Well, actually, no, it is pretty easy to threshold. I just need to play Aid from Spirit Speakers once I get the water spot unlocked. So I'd spend 3 energy per player, which you can aid by removing disease, to remove the top card of the fear deck from the game, and add 1 disease. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I'm not in love with this draw, so I think I'm just going to take Entwined Power, and then I'll be able to use that to get another power a little bit later. So let's forget probably Traveler's Boon. It's not great in true solo. The elements are nice, but I'd rather play cards that have effects. So yeah, let's forget Traveler's Boon. Maybe the wrong way to do it, I don't know. But I think that's okay. And I'll have Entwined Power for the future. And for growth, I'm going to go top, top, top. Seems like a really strong way to get a lot of energy and grow very powerful. So that's my goal. I'm going to go here, and I'm just playing 1 card. I'm going to play a Circuitous and Wending Journey. So that's what I'm going with. Alright, make sure that I have my phone ready here, just in case anything happens. I've got my wife and kid are sleeping right now, so I've got probably a good hour to do this and before I have to go check on them. Alright, so that's that. Let's go into fast powers. I don't have any. I didn't hit thresholds, so that's that. Then I'm going to go to the invader phase, so we'll flip an event for timing. We're going to go into building in mountains, so I'll build a city here and a town there. And I could have stopped those, but I'd rather grow a little bit stronger first, so that's why I didn't care about it too much. And then we're going to explore in wetlands. That's not a wetland, right there. Okay, so both wetlands have blight. Okay. Alright, then we go to slow powers. So I've got a Circuitous and Wending Journey. I'm going to push half of the invaders out of this land. And I guess I'll just stack up in this jungle. There's no Dahan there, so that's okay. And I'll see if I can get an action skip. Alright. So that's that. I'm going to discard cards and go back to growth. For growth, let's go ahead and add a presence and get +1 card play this turn. I'm going to go from top. I've got 1 range on this, so let's go here so I can maybe deal with that city that gets added if I let it get added. because that'll be a little bit scary. And I've got some good thresholds here. I can do some isolates. So I think I do want to play Entwined Power and just get 2 power cards. I've got 2 energy. I've got 1 0-cost card left, so I can play that one. So I can play Paths Tied by Nature. Let's see if I'm hitting any thresholds with this. I am getting 1 Isolate. And that's it. Yeah, I don't love that. Might need to save Entwined Power. So let's do something a little bit better. If I go with the Ways of Shores and Heartland, I think that gets me 2 Isolates. That gets me Lay the Paths They Cannot Help But Walk at the 2nd level. So yeah, I think that's a little bit better. Aid from the Spirit Speakers, it's fine. Or I can offer passage between worlds on this land just to keep those Dahan from being destroyed, so they'd fight back. I'll lose a presence. I'll let a Blake go through, but I think that might be worth it. I lose one of my isolates doing this, but I think that's okay. Let's go with that. Okay, yeah, we'll give it a shot. Alright, so let's go into fast powers. So I've got Offer Passage Between Worlds. I'm going to use that. Yeah, I don't really have a great use for this, actually. For Lay Paths They Cannot Help But Walk. So maybe I have to let that build the city. I don't really have enough actions to do everything that I want to do yet, so it's a little bit tricky. Okay, I think instead of putting my presence there, I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to use Lay Paths That They Cannot Help But Walk to push one of these invaders into C4. Then I'm going to use Offer Passage Between Worlds to move. Let's go these 2 to Han. Oh, I could keep my presence there, actually, because this is range 1. So yeah, let's target this one. So I'm going to Offer Passage Between Worlds to move those 2 to Han in here, just to avoid the Sweden escalation effect in that land if jungle does come up. And not stopping builds yet, but I think I'll get there. So, alright, so that's that. Yeah, let's go into the the invader phase with some events. Got Cultural Assimilation on each board with exactly 1 Dahan that has or is adjacent to a city. Replace that with 1 town. So I did avoid the Cultural Assimilation effect by moving these 2 Dahan there. That's really good. Beast Attack. Each beast deals 2 damage. Remove any token that destroys a town or city. Yeah, I'll just destroy a town. It's fine. Or maybe I want to keep it. The fear's not really that helpful for me, and the damage here is going to be overwhelming anyway. So let's just keep that beast there. Because depending on what powers I get with majors, it could be more useful to have the beast than to lose it. Reckless Offensive on each board with at least 2 Dahan and at least 2 towns and cities. Choose a land with each, and that doesn't apply. So that's fine. Okay. So now we go to the Ravage. They're going to Ravage in mountains, so we'll just kill that guy. Build in wetlands. Yeah. And then explore sands. Shoot. So they will get a conversion there. Don't know that there was really anything I can do to stop that. And then I'll explore here. Okay. So that's that. Now we go into slow powers. I have Ways of the Shore and Heartland. So I can push 2 invaders. So let's do it here. Push this town and city. I can't do that. I can push them here, actually. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. I think that's it. Yep, so discard cards and go back to growth. Alright, so growth this turn, I wanted to go top, top, top. I think that stole my goal. I'm going to have a lot of energy with it. And I think I need an extra card play for that. So let's go top, top, top. I'll go in here, and hopefully I'll be able to push that town out. Just stalling the game out. So I get 4 energy this turn. I've got 2 card plays. Definitely want to get Entwined Power so I can get 2 power cards with that. And I need to hit one of these thresholds. I can't do it if I have the 2 energy. That's a little bit tricky. So will I have to let that go? I really don't want to. It's not great. Oh, I forgot to do my isolates too. I had an isolate last turn. With how I did things, I actually would have isolated C6 because it was the only land that was vulnerable to the sweeping escalation. So it's backtracking a little bit. But because I did have that isolate and I just forgot to use it, I'm gonna retcon this slightly and keep this land safe thanks to the isolation. So they would not have explored there, period. So reason for that, with Close the Ways, I can isolate target land. At the end of the fast phase, this was the only land that was vulnerable to the Sweden escalation, so therefore I would have isolated it to keep them from doing that. So bit of a backtrack, but I just forgot to use it last turn. So am I going to have to not use Entwined Power again? I really want to use it. I think I'm going to have to not. You know, if I go back for that moon, yeah. So I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep Entwined Power. I'm gonna use it eventually. It's my major, and play my other 2 unique powers, so that I can keep stalling the game out a little bit. I'll have to do a reclaim, which is unfortunate, but I think it'll be a reclaim with 1 card play. Man, next turn's gonna suck actually if I do this. think I'm gonna have to let this Ravage. Maybe I don't get an event that'll save it, but just so I can set up for a better next turn, I am going to use Entwined Power. And I will use Paths Tied by Nature. Don't love it, but it's what I gotta do. So. Okay, that's that. Let's go to Fast Powers. So I'm going to isolate C5 so they at least don't get a Mining Rush. Still going to Cascade, but it'll keep me a healthy island, so I think that's fine. So they won't get their Mining Rush, which is good. I think that's the only isolate that I have. It is, so one isolate this turn. I don't have any levels of lay help paths they cannot help but walk, but I do have Entwined Power, so I'm going to target myself with that because I'm in true solo. So target spirit gains a power card. So I'm drawing 4, and I actually get to keep 2 of them. So I've got some really good ones here. Voice of Command and Vigor. Well, that's nice. Probably, I do actually like Bombard with Boulders and Singing Seeds, but I'm not taking that. If I have the option to take one of these others, I will do that. And actually, this is a spirit that can Threshold unlock the Gates of the Deepest Power, but I'm not going to go for that. I think I'll take Voice of Command and Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, because that's just silly. So, let's do that. Okay, so I'm taking these 2. I have to forget 2 cards. I'm going to forget Entwined Power. And I'll forget... I think just Offer Passage Between Worlds, because now I have enough Dahan movement here that I shouldn't need that one. It does help me threshold these. Although this one does Aid from the Spirit Speakers, thresholds both of them, so that's fine. So yeah, I'll forget Offer Passage Between Worlds from discard. So I gained 2 majors, 2 very good majors, and I can threshold both of them by playing these 3 cards, which maybe I'll be able to do in 2 turns. 3 turns probably. Okay. So that's that. Now we go into an event. I've got Terror Spikes Upward. If you have any Earned Fear cards, resolve one of them now, as if it were a higher level. Otherwise, 1 fear per player. Secure Settled Territory on each board in a land with Badlands, Beasts, and Towns and Cities. I don't have any Badlands. I do have Beasts, though. Sad. This was healed. And War Among the Dahan. In the land with the most Dahan, push half the Dahan, rounded down. I don't like that. Okay. Because that makes me vulnerable to the Sweden escalation. Okay, so Ravage and Wetlands. I'm going to get a Ravage and Cascade in C5. I'll have it Cascade over to C6 because that's empty. No Mining Rush because I did isolate the land. And the other one just does 1 damage. Build in Sands. And then explore into mountains, which is okay. Okay, so that's fine. Next I go into slow powers. So I've got Paths Tied by Nature. Let's see. So not super useful. I can stop build in C3 with that. Or I can just get stuff over into C3 so that I can hammer it with Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, and that might be better. So let's move the city and town over into C3. I think that's fine. We'll see. And I want to get a presence in here so I can make that adjacent. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's it for slow powers. So I'll discard this, go back to growth. So I want to keep doing my +1 card play growth option. And I think I want the air and move presence, because that's going to get me closer to a +1 card play. So with this one. So, but I think I do want the air. Yeah. Let's go here. Actually, yeah, I'll go there. Okay, interesting. So with this turn, I'm going to get, I can move a presence. I'm actually okay with where all my presents are, I think. I'm going to gain 4 energy. I'm going to play Vigor of the Breaking Dawn and Aid from Spirit Speakers. Okay, yeah, this will be an interesting turn, I think. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Do I want to move anywhere? I think I'm good with where my presence is. Okay. So first, I'm going to go ahead and use Aid from Spirit Speakers. I'm going to target C1. Well, I could do this with Way Past They Cannot Help But Walk. Let's see. Create land. Okay. Gotta do 2 there. Which damage can I do here? I could wipe this one out. Okay, so I have the second level of Lay Paths They Cannot Help But Walk, so I can use that to push 1 invader. Close the Ways. I don't have any levels of this, so I'm not going to be able to isolate a land this turn, but I think that's okay. So I need to get some Dahan over there. So yeah, let's use Aid from the Spirit Speakers. I'm going to use that to push 2 Dahan into C3. Then I'm going to use Lay Paths They Cannot Help But Walk to push 1 of these Dahan into C2. And now I'm going to use Vigor of the Breaking Dawn with the Threshold to do 2 damage per Dahan in target land, so that's 6 damage here. After one of my actions destroys 1 or more Dahan or invaders, or directly triggers their destruction, I destroy 1 presence and lose 1 energy. So I will lose the 1 energy that I have. And I'll destroy a presence. Let's see. I think I won't need this one anymore. Alright, I also have the Threshold for Vigor, so I'm going to push 1 over here, and push 1 over here, making this land adjacent because it had my presence in it, with Open the Ways. So I'm going to do 4 damage in this land, 2 damage in this land, And now I'm cooking. So now I'm in pretty good shape. A little bit... Well, actually, no. Mountains and Sands have already come up, and all of Dahan are in Mountains and Sands, so I should be safe from the Sweden escalation. So yeah, they're spread out a little bit, but that is okay for now. Alright, so fast powers are done. Let's go to the event. We've got Visions Out of Time. Let's see. These... Did I? I feel like I did shuffle the event deck. I think I got some of these last time, so I don't know. It's been a little while. Let's see. Lose 1 energy. So I don't have 1 energy to lose, so that might be okay. Let's see, if I do that, it would make me lose Voice of Command, but I don't really want to. I am only going to have 1 card play next turn, because I'm going to have to reclaim, most likely. I could probably push the reclaim off. And gain a card. So Voice of Command's not going to do a ton for me. So yeah, I think I'm going to let the warning waft into days past. I don't have an energy to lose, so I'm just still at 0. I'm going to replace my most expensive Beyond Unique in hand with a major. So I get to choose one of the top 4. I got Bargains of Power and Protection. That's pretty good. An easy threshold for me. So yeah, I'll probably do that. Unleash a Torrent of the Self-Zone Essence is also not bad. Ravaged Undergrowth, there's a lot of light on the board, so that's okay too. Also a relatively easy threshold. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with Bargains of Power and Protection. Okay. So that was the event. Prey on the Heedless in each land with beasts, 1 damage per beast. I have no beasts. Strength from Trade, lands with Dahan have defend 2, and lands with towns and cities and no Dahan, Ravage actions do +1. That's fine. Okay. 1 fear card, finally. Terror level 1. Panic. Each player adds 1 strife in a land with beast, disease, or Dahan. Nothing happens, so that's fine. Ravage in sands. Build in mountains. Explore into jungle. Okay. A little bit scary here. I can let it ravage. It would be a blighted island, but yeah, I do have a turn to kind of prep for things. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Going into slow powers, I have none, so I'm just going to discard cards and go back to growth. And I do have a free turn here. They're going to build, but I think I can get away with reclaiming so that next turn I can get up to 3 card plays and have a pretty strong turn. So let's go with this. I'm just going to gain a minor. Defend 5's kind of useless. I mean, it'll deal with that. Drought is okay, actually. Usually wouldn't use it, but in this case, it's not bad. But I can't threshold it this turn, so it's fine. Nature's Resilience, Call of the Dahan Ways. Okay, let's go with Call of the Dahan Ways. I can ignore range this turn. Let's see, the last stage 2 card could be Coastal or it could be Wetlands. Either way, I'm protected from the escalation, so I don't have to worry about that too much. Probably just play Ways of Shore and Heartland so I can get these guys out of here. And then I'll worry about dealing with this next turn. Let's see. Yeah, I get an Isolate if I do this one. Okay, cool. So I've got one card play. I ignore range this turn. I get 4 energy. Going into fast powers, I just have Close the Ways. So I'm going to isolate a land. Let's see. Not a lot of good options. I think I can probably deal with either of those if they come up, so I'd rather just keep them from exploring the coasts. So let's isolate this land. Actually, no. I'll isolate this land because if I push 2 out, I can just ignore that land, so that'll be okay. Okay. So if Coastal comes up, I can deal with that one. Yeah, that's fine. So only fast power. Let's go into the Invader phase. So we'll get an event. Influx of settlers on the single board with the most towns and cities. Add 1 town per player, which is 1. To as many different lands as possible. Could keep stacking up in here. Seems a little risky. But I'm going to do it, because at this point the damage doesn't matter. I'm going to just try to nuke it down. Okay. Sandstalkers on each board, add 1 beast to the sand with the most invaders. It's a tie for none, so I don't get fear for that. And then Network of Support and Trade. When invaders ravage, if the land has Dahan, defend 1 + 1 per adjacent. Sure. Ravage in mountains, nothing happens. Build in jungle. Sure. And it was explore coastal. This one's isolated, so we'll just explore these 2. Okay. That's fine. Now we go into slow power. So I have Ways of Shore and Heartland. I'm going to push these 2 guys out. I think I'll just stack up in the sands. Because it's more likely that an effect will do something there. Alright, discard cards, go back to growth. Now I can get up to 3 card plays. I've got a decent amount of energy. I'm going to have 7 this turn. So let's go there. Going from bottom. I want to go into this land. Actually, this land. Yeah. That's fine. Okay, 3 card plays this turn. I think I'm going to have to let this ravage. So I will get to a Blighted Island, but that shouldn't be too bad. So do I save Vigor? It might actually be okay to save Vigor. And I can set up for a bigger thing next turn. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to save Vigor for next turn. I'm going to do Bargains of Power and Protection. Paths Tied by Nature, which is going to threshold Bargains of Power and Protection. And maybe Call of the Dahan Ways, just so I can get another Dahan out. I'm not going to have the Threshold, but that's fine. So yeah, let's go Call of the Dahan Ways. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting 4 energy this turn. Paying 3 of it for these 2 powers. I'll just mark that there. And let's get into it. So first up, I'm going to use Bargains of Power and Protection. And I could unlock the Any Element, which is pretty strong. So I can use that Any Element right now. So yeah, let's do that. So I do have the threshold for Bargains of Power and Protection. I can remove one of my presents from my presence tracks. From now on, each Dahan within range 1 of my presence provides defend 1 in its land, and I gain 1 less energy each turn. But I get a lot of energy, so that's fine. And there's a reminder card to remember where I put my reminder cards. Because I don't use these too often. Bargains of Power and Protection. Yep, that's Coursing Paths. There we go. Okay. So I'll keep that up at the top of the board, so you can see that. I've got 1 presence on it. I've got Close the Ways. I'm going to close C4, so it is isolated, so they won't get their Mining Rush when they ravage there. I've got Lay Paths they cannot help but walk. I think I've just got the... Well, actually... If I make this a moon, I do have the first 2 levels, so I think that's what I'm going to do. So my Any is a moon this turn. I think I want to stack up Dahan here so I can hammer that with Vigor of the Breaking Dawn next turn. So I don't care if they build here, that's going to be fine. Let's move 1 Dahan over here. And this one over there as well. Okay. And I actually do have multiple isolates this turn. I do have a second isolate. So let's just throw that isolate over here. Okay, I think that's good. So now we go into the event. We've got accumulated devastation on each board during the first successful ravage action. This invader phase increase the total damage ravaging by the current invader stage, which is 3. Doesn't matter, they're doing infinite damage in that land anyway, and I'm just sacrificing it. The world's vibrance or territorial beasts on each board isolate a land with beasts. Cool, another isolate. 1 fear if invaders are present. And then we've got Years of Health and Harmony on each board with 5 or more Dahan. Add 1 Dahan to the land with most Dahan. Beautiful. I need more Dahan, so that's great. Okay, no fear card. Ravage in jungle, so they will do 2 damage here. We've got Attenuated Essence. Each invader phase, each spirit with at least 5 presence on the island destroys 1. No, that's fine. So I will lose 1 anyway. It's a 4 blight card. Second blight is going in here. We've got 3 blight left to play with. Build in coastal. And then explore mountain and jungle, so we'll have to deal with that jungle. Well, it's isolated, so it doesn't explore at least. Messed up. If I had isolated this one, they wouldn't have explored here. Oh well. Okay, that's fine. Now we go into the slow phase. So I've got Paths Tied by Nature and Call Up the Dahan Waves with Threshold. Let's move these 2 in here. I'll see how much damage I can do there. And then I'll replace this town with a Dahan. Okay, that's that. Then we'll discard cards and go back to growth. So growth, I'm getting 4 energy, thanks to the -1 that I have. I think I'm going to go back for an extra card play. Mostly so that I have 3 on the reclaim. So I don't really need to get +1 card play this turn if I do that. But I might do it anyway. I'm not sure. Let's see, I'm getting 4 energy. I could go for another major. Yeah, let's do it. I'm getting another major. Okay. So nothing that I really like here. Storm Swath is fine. Actually, did a lot of damage there. I can threshold it. Okay, yeah, I'm going Storm Swath. I think I have a good combo this turn. So let's take that in the hand. I'm going to have just enough energy for this as well. I'm going to forget Paths Tied by Nature. It's a good card, but I'm just probably not going to play it again. I'm going to add Presence from bottom to get an extra card play. So I have 3. Add my Presence in here. Now, let's go there. Because this one's defended, I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so this is getting cleared out. I'd love to clear this one out too. Let me gain my energy, because I know which cards I'm playing. Playing Storm Swath, Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, and Aid from the Spirit Speakers. I do need a Sacred Site for that. So instead of going in here, I'll go, I think, here. No, I need to be in here. So I can hit this one twice, actually. So putting my Presence in here, I'm also going to move a Presence into here. So I got a Sacred Site into C4. Yeah, I think that will work. It's going to do a lot of damage at least. Okay. Alright, so going into fast powers here, I'm spending all my energy for this. And I don't know what I need for the any element just yet. Maybe a moon. Moon doesn't help. I can't hit any additional thresholds with that, so I'm just going to save that in case there's an event that uses elements. And instead, I'll figure out what I'm doing. So I'm going to do Aid from the Spirit Speakers. To... Well, let's see. Can't do that yet. Shoot. No. So how much damage am I doing there? I'm doing 10 if I hit that with Vigor. I only need to do, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to use Lay Paths They Cannot Help But Walk to push one Dahan into here. Push 2 in there, so I'll be doing 6 damage. Okay, that should be good. Alright, so I'm going to push this Dahan into this land, C1. That's using Aid from the Spirit Speakers. Oh, I have to push into a land with Dahan. Shoot. Okay. Let's go... I'll just push it in here then. Stack up a little bit. Okay, yep, that's that. So I've got Lay Paths They Cannot Help But Walk, Aid from the Spirit Speakers. Now I'm going to use Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, hammering C2, so that's going to do 8 damage, which is enough to clear that out. I will lose lose an energy. Oh, I will lose 2 presence instead, which is fine, I think. Now I don't have to worry about attenuated essence. So that was 2 towns, 1 town, a city. And then I'm going to push 2 of those to Han into... Well, actually, I'm going to push 1 in here and 1 over there, because that's going to stop the build cycle. So that'll destroy that. Here, I'm doing 6 damage. I'm going to destroy a town. That's 2 of the damage. Then I'm going to do 1 damage to each of these cities. And an extra damage to 1 city, just in case. Okay, I've also got Close the Way, so I can isolate a couple lands here. I think just 1, so let's isolate. Well, any of these could come up, really, so I guess I'll isolate this one. Now, I'll keep isolating that one. Yeah, I'll go there. Okay, so that's that. Let's go into the invader phase. So we've got an event, Ethereal Conjunction. Let's see, I don't have energy to do. I don't have many cards in play. I'm going to be reclaiming, so I don't mind doing this. Oh, it has to be a non-major. Okay. Let's see. Alright, that's fine. So I'm going to play Ways of Shore and Heartland. It uses immediately, so I'm going to use that on C5. So I can push up to 2 invaders to a land that's also coastal or inland. So I'm going to push these guys in here. Then I forget this power and discard all power cards. Irregular outbreaks. Disease doesn't prevent invaders, or doesn't prevent builds, which is fine. 10 to the living earth on each board with 5 or more Dahan. Remove 1 blight in a land with Dahan. Cool. Alright. 2 fear cards, still Terra level 1. Okay. Each player on each board remove 1 explorer from a land matching a Ravage card. Sure. And Dahan Raid. Each player chooses a different land with Dahan. 1 damage per Dahan there. Okay. Well, I've got to keep the city from being built. Don't think this counts as my action. It's a fear card, so I'm going to do 2 damage to this town and damage to another city, because why not? Alright, and I think that I've won this game in the slow phase, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so Ravage and Coastal, this one's defended 2. Build in mountains and jungles. Build a town here. Build a town there, which is fine. Oops. And then explore into sands and jungles. Or sands and mountains. Oof, it's late. Alright, sands and mountains. And we'll get a couple explorers, but that's fine. I definitely could have isolated things better in this game. But yeah, you know, don't have a ton of Finder experience, so I think it's gone pretty well. I don't know why that's up there. That was a destroyed presence. Alright, now I go into the slow phase. I've got Storm Swath with the Threshold. So I'm going to do 2 fear in both origin and target land, 1 damage to each invader. I'm using this as the origin and the target land, and then I'm also doing it into C7. So 1 damage in each of these lands. So it's actually 3 fear when you have the threshold. 1 damage to each invader. So boom, 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 boom. And I'm doing it twice here, so it's 2 damage to each invader. And then in every land you did damage, destroy 1 town. I don't have any energy, so I do have to destroy 2 presents to do that, so let's destroy these 2. But that did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 more fear, so that's 2 more fear cards. 3 more fear. And there are no towns or cities left on the board. I'm in stage 2, or at Terror level 2, which means that I win. So yeah, very fun game. I like Finder a lot. I think the top is cool. A little bit risky since you are just relying on growth 2 to get that extra card play each turn. But if you can make it work, it is really, really strong. Yeah, so cool game. So I get a level 6 adversary win with Finder. It is Sweden, which is usually considered the easiest adversary. By difficulty, it's the easiest, but some people think France instead. I think France and Sweden are pretty comparable. So yeah, a pretty good one. Yeah, cool. Let me know what you think about this game in the comments below. Finder is a very powerful spirit in both true solo and in team games. Probably stronger in team games, but still very strong in true solo. I'm not sure which of the remaining spirits I'm going to go for next. Let me queue it up. I think if I point this direction, I'll put a graphic on the screen with my remaining spirits that I have for missing level 6 adversary wins. I think there are 5. 4 of the Nature Incarnate ones, and Shroud. Shroud might be the last one that I go for. So we'll do a couple Nature Incarnate ones below and see how I do with those. But as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see everybody next time.